You're welcome to this class. My name is David Ovionos and I'm your instructor. This is Full Stack Development class. Precisely, this is the first class in the series. There's a whole lot that we're going to be learning in this class. And if you're in the group, I posted a particular PDF material here, which I asked every one of us to kindly go through to give us a clue of what full stack development is. Okay, so I'll be doing a glance in this material also, and then we'll dive into the business of the day. I know some of you are new to programming, you're new to web development, you're even new to tech in general, and some of you have some knowledge before. Okay, you have some basic knowledge before you've been doing some research. Some of you have downloaded lots and lots of YouTube videos and all of that now. But no matter your level, no matter where you're coming from, no matter your background, we have something for you. Now, like I said, full stack development covers both the front end and the back end. Okay, so it's a comprehensive development course which covers both front end and back end development. And then the front end comprises of the user interface, while the back end takes care of the business logic. Okay, so I have this little diagram here. We have the front end here. Of course, you will see the shift of it all there. We'll be using React JS now. Of course, before we get into React, there are some fundamentals that we are going to be covering in this course before we get into this React part. Okay, so but then we have the front end, we have the back end, we have the database. Now we have two types of developers. Okay, we have all three types, you may want to call it that way. So we have the front end developers, okay, that takes care of the user interface, the part that the user can see, can interact with. Okay, contains all the fancy elements and everything and all the layouts. Okay, now we also have the back-end developers that takes care of the main business logic, which involves the server codes and all of the APIs and the database as well. Okay, so the back-end developer takes care of these two parts of it. Okay, while the front-end developer handles what the user interface. But we have another set of developers called the full stack developers that takes care of both the front end and the back end. Okay, now back to my material here. Let's consider a retail website or a classified website like Jumia, Amazon, or YouTube, or even Gigi, where users can browse a product or select a particular item. They can purchase a particular item, they can delete or add items in the carts. Okay, they can even change their profile and do a whole lot of things. All of these actions require the front end or the user interface, or you may want to call it the UI, and it also contains some business logic which are written in the back end. So for instance, now let's say we have all of these websites. We have Jumia. You could see a lot of products in Jumia here. You will see this fancy interface, this beautiful interface that you're seeing. You will see some awesome effects going on when I hover my mouse. Okay, you see all of them, and sometimes you'll see some sliding taking place here. Okay, so now when you see a beautiful website like this, now you're like, wow, I love the interface, I love the way things have been positioned, I love the way the color combination and all of those things. Now you are actually giving kudos to the front end developer. Okay, so the front end is all about the user interface, what the user can see. Okay, so all of this now are the work of the front end developer. But far beyond this, now you can see we even have an account section where a user can log in. Okay, you can view can view your orders and save items and all of those. Now these are work of the front end developer. But far beyond what you could see. Okay, of course, when you try to log in or when you try to sign up now, your details, okay, I'm not connected to the internet. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, I think I'm connected now. So when you try to register in a particular website like Jumia, Gigi, Facebook, or whatsoever, your details, your username, your password, and every information about yourself is being stored somewhere called the database. Okay, and there is a connection line, there's a connection between this front end or the form you are filling, which is part of the front end, and the actual database that contains your details, there's a connection in between called the API, okay, which is also part of the back end logic or the back end codes and as well. Okay, now you could see that beyond just creating a beautiful website or web application and all of those things, now for it to work there needs to be something called a database that's going to store the actual user data, the actual data of registered users, that's going to store the actual product that people are going to search for or purchase and all of those things. Okay, so the database is going to contain all the actual details of the application, and then there's also going to be an API that is going to connect this front end to that database. Okay, now for instance, now if I come over here now and I search for iPhone whatever, okay, now what is happening here is that I have the front end where the searching is taking place and all of those things now, and I have the actual database that contains all the product now, and then there is a back-end logic now that is actually pulling these items that I am searching from the database and then displaying them in our front end. So you could see now, so this is what is going on. So now beyond just the fancy user interface, now there's an actual backend now that is like the engine of this entire website. So without that engine, this whole thing is not going to work. When you search anything, nothing's going to come out for you. Okay, same thing goes for every other websites that you could see here, whether Facebook, whether GG, whether Amazon, Jumia, or whatever it is, AliExpress, Alibaba, and the rest of it now, and any other web application or website that you might know. Okay, so that's just a summary of it now. So if you want to be that guy, that tech guy that knows how to create this kind of beautiful user interface and all of those things now, then you want to be a front-end developer. If you just want to concentrate on building the business logic and the database now, then you want to be a back-end developer. But if you want to be the god of all, as in knowing both the front-end and the back-end, then you want to be a full stack developer, and that is what this course is all about. Now, talking about the front end now, we're going to be using technologies like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, and React.js. Each of these technologies have their own usage, okay? So the actual website elements, they are being presented using HTML. So everything you see here is what the inserting of the image, the inserting of headers, buttons, search box, and videos, and all of those things you see there. They are all of this form now, these buttons and everything now, they are all created using HTML. So we use HTML to present those website elements. But HTML in its ordinary state now, your website, though it's going to have those elements now, but it's not going to be looking too good. It's just like a lady waking up early in the morning now without any makeup, without anything. Sometimes when you look at some of those very beautiful girls early in the morning, you'll be so shocked how their face will look like without any of those makeup. Okay, so that is what HTML is going to do for you. It's going to help you to present the content, but to actually add some beautification to them. Like you could see this color now, this is not the default color. Of course, the default color might be black now, but you can see we're able to Facebook is able to change this color here. Okay, and you can see this button have blue color and this one have green color now. All of those kind of styling, like adding some kind of makeup, Mary Kay, and whatsoever you're going to add to the HTML element that you have inserted now, those are now done using CSS. So you use HTML to insert those content. For instance, now you can insert an image now, but you can now say, oh, this image is too big, or I don't like the shape of this image. I want the edge of all the images to be maybe rounded corners, or I want it to be around a complete round image and the rest of it. So after inserting with HTML, you go ahead and do CSS now to style those things to your desired taste. Okay, apart from just styling those things, now CSS have a lot to do. For instance, now when you look at all of this, you see the way things are being presented here. You see this part of you see the way these ones are being aligned all of this is being aligned to the left, and this entire form now is floating to the right now. That is the work of CSS. Now it helps you to create website layouts. You could see this thing now. See the way we have a beautiful sidebar here, and the rest of the grid items. Now you can see all of these things that contains the actual product. Now they are well structured into 4 columns each, 1 2 3 4, like this. Now you see no one image is bigger than the other. Now that is the work of CSS. Okay, you see things being laid out properly the way they should appear. That is the work of CSS as well. Okay, so CSS is used for a whole lot of things. Okay, so all of these placements of items in their actual positioning is called layouting. So we use CSS to create the website layout, as well as styling those HTML elements, those things that you have inserted using HTML. Okay, so you insert with HTML, you style with CSS, and as well you also create the layout where things should be positioned. You use CSS to create all of those things as well. Okay, now in addition to all of those stuffs, we also have things like Bootstrap that's going to help you to create responsive websites. Okay, that is why you look at some websites now, they are very awesome when you open them on the desktop or in a laptop, but when you open it on a smartphone now, they are not responsive. Some of them you have to scroll to the right to see some of the remaining content. Now those kind of things are very annoying. Okay, we say those kind of websites, they are not responsive. So what Bootstrap does is that it helps you to achieve responsive designs. That means when it helps you to create web application or website that when you open it on any size of device, whether on a big screen or a small screen like a mobile phone screen, now the website or the web application is going to adapt to the screen size. Okay, so you use Bootstrap to achieve that kind of stuff. Of course, Bootstrap is not the only thing you can use now. Okay, so Bootstrap, we call it a kind of CSS framework. So it's a CSS framework. Actually, you can achieve those kind of design, those kind of responsive design using pure CSS. Okay, but it's kind of stressful. So what Bootstrap does is that it helps you to achieve what you should ordinarily do with CSS. Bootstrap helps you to achieve those things faster. Okay, so that is why it's a framework. Whenever you hear the term framework of a particular language or a particular technology, it means something that have come to ease your pain in using the original. So Bootstrap is here to ease your pain in using CSS. Okay, so things that you should ordinarily do with CSS that will take longer time, you find it easier doing with Bootstrap. This the best way I can explain it. Okay, as you keep going in this journey, you're going to see a broader use cases whereby you're going to understand things clearer, but I'm sure you're getting the concept of it. Apart from Bootstrap, we have things like Tailwind CSS, and we also have Foundation and a host of others as well. So as a front-end developer or a full stack developer, in addition to knowing just HTML and CSS, it's good you know at least one framework, okay, that is going to make your work easier, styling and creating your layouts easy. So creating layouts with I talk about layouts, the way things are being positioned and everything. Now you can do them with CSS now, but creating with pure CSS, sometimes it can be kind of stressful. That's why we use one of the CSS frameworks like either Tailwind or Bootstrap to make our layouting much easier, and at the same time we're going to achieve a responsive design, that is a design that's going to open well whether on a smartphone or a desktop. All right, so that is it. Now, in addition to all the beautiful website that you've created using HTML, CSS, and maybe Bootstrap or whatever it is that you are creating now, you may want to add some one or two interaction or interactivity. For instance, now when a user sign up, when a user tries to register, okay, after putting the email address, maybe just put the email address without the @ symbol, he's trying to put a password, you see something like the website complaining that this is not a complete email address, the @ symbol is missing, or maybe some of those kind of validation, we call them validations. Now, those kind of stuffs are created using JavaScript. That is the interactivity part of it. And apart from all of those stuff, now when you go to okay, you see what is happening here. Let me see. Okay, I guess a lot of you have purchased things on on Jumia, and even you have used Facebook. Sometimes you click the like button and then you see immediately the number of likes increase, okay, on the go without even the page reloading and all of those stuff like that. Those are interactivity. You do something in one place and something happen in another place. For instance, now you add item to cart now and the number of items in your cart increase by 1. Okay, those kind of interactivity like that, those are made possible only with JavaScript. Okay, and in addition to that JavaScript, like I said, we have some technologies and we have framework for some of those technologies. Now we also have things like React.js. Now React.js is a library or a framework. For the now, let's use the word framework. Okay, it's a framework for JavaScript. Okay, that makes writing the original JavaScript code much easier. And there's a whole lot to React.js. Okay, so we are going to be diving into it in this course also. So as a front-end developer, yes, if you know HTML, CSS, and maybe one of the CSS framework or library or CSS library, you are good as a front-end developer. But in today's world of development, you should know at least one JavaScript framework or JavaScript library. Okay, and we have a whole lot of them. We have React.js, we have AngularJS, we have Vue.js, and a whole lot like that. But our pick is React.js. Okay, so React is a very good front-end framework. So having knowledge of all of this now is going to make you a front-end developer. Okay, and in terms of the back end now, we have Node.js, but we also have some other alternatives apart from Node.js. We have things like Python, we have PHP, we have Golang, we have a whole lot of them. But for this course, we're going to be using Node.js, and then for the database, we'll be using MongoDB. And as you can see, we have some other kind of database that you can use. You can use MySQL, you can use Postgre, you can use Firebase, and a whole lot of them. So I really want you guys to take some time to go through all of this document. I explained some things in it. Okay, so I also talked about different technology stacks that we have. We have main stack, min stack, parent stack, and a whole lot of them. Now the stack that we are following is main stack. Okay, so we have different full stack. Okay, we have main stack, we have min stack, parent stack, and a whole lot of them like that. Now main stands for MongoDB, Express.js, React.js, and Node.js. So that if you are using main stack now, means that you are using React for your front end, you are using Node.js and Express for your back end, and you are using MongoDB database. Okay, min stack is almost the same with main. The difference is the front end framework that you are using. Instead of React.js now, you're going to be using AngularJS now. Okay, so this shows us the reason we pick main stack instead of the min stack, because if in the nearest future you want to go into mobile apps development now, chances are you're going to be using React Native now. And React Native now, before you can dive into React Native, you need knowledge of React.js now. So since you're going to be using React Native for your mobile apps, if you want to go into mobile apps now, why not pick a main stack so that you already have knowledge of React.js now, and you also have knowledge or sound knowledge of your backend and database, which means that you are like halfway done in your mobile apps journey. Okay, so what you just be learning then is React Native, of which the concept of React Native and React is almost the same thing, so it won't be too difficult for you diving into mobile apps development if you have a solid grip of your main stack. But if you are doing min stack and you want to do mobile app development, it's either you're going to start afresh learning React Native with pains, or you're going to start learning React afresh before diving into the React Native, or you are going to pick another mobile apps development technology like Ionic. Okay, so so you can build mobile apps using React Native, you can use Ionic, you can even use things like Flutter by Google. Okay, if you are using Flutter, then you're going to be using the Dart programming language, DART. Okay, and if you are using Ionic, okay, if you pick Ionic, my challenge with Ionic is that Ionic is not going to give you a real native application like what React Native and Flutter is going to give to you. So that is why I don't subscribe to you stressing yourself going for main stack and all of that. So instead of, in fact, instead of you picking main stack, now I would rather you even pick parent stack. Okay, so my my first choice is main stack, my second choice is parent stack, because it still uses React, it still uses the Node.js and Express for the back end, and then the only difference now is the database. So instead of using MongoDB database, now it uses PostgreSQL. Okay, so MongoDB is a NoSQL database, but PostgreSQL uses for those of you that are used to database, uses this structured query language, okay, which is the same language that MySQL uses as well. Okay, so MS SQL, MySQL, all of them. So if you are used to writing SQL queries and all of those things, now you'll find Postgre more comfortable for you. But however, main stack or MongoDB is gaining solid ground. Okay, so that is why it's becoming the order of the day, and it's lightweight, it's fast as well. So you could take some time and go through the documents and all of that. Now, so we have the front end, like I said, which you're going to be using HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and the shape of it, which is React. And then we have the back end, which you're going to be using Node.js together with Express. Okay, and then we also have Mongoose there. They are all together. Okay, so and then we have the database where we're going to be using MongoDB. Now, in order to get started, like I said, we're going to be starting from the very beginning, which we have already started now. To start creating your website or whatsoever it is, now we're going to be starting from HTML, which means hypertext markup language. Okay, to start writing HTML codes, what you need is you need a text editor. Okay, though you can use things like Notepad. So we're going to be starting from a blank text editor like Notepad. For Notepad is only available for Windows. Okay, so if you are using a Mac, you might not find Notepad in your Mac. Okay, so I think there's an alternative there in your Mac. Now you can search for it. There's a text editor for Mac that you can also use now, but I'm going to be using this now because I'm a Windows lover. So we're going to be starting from a blank text editor, so I will see how things go, and then later we're going to install VS Code. So you're going to install Visual Studio Code. So this is it, VS Code. So you could click on it and then download and install the version. So VS Code is available both for Windows and Mac, whether you're using a 32-bit operating system or a 64-bit. So just click download here or here, download for Windows and the rest. So you could download you can open this thing, this down arrow here, and then you download, click any of these download buttons. Now it's going to start downloading. You can just click this now to start. So if I click on it now, it will start downloading for me, but I'm going to stop it because I already have it. I've downloaded it severally in my system. That's okay. For Windows, okay, Windows 10, Windows 11, blah blah blah. So I'm going to click this guy to start the download. It stands for downloading VS Code for Windows. It's thanking me, and yet I have not even downloaded. All right, so okay, so it's trying to install. You can see it's about 73 MB. All right, thank you very much. I'm not going to download this. I'm just going to close this now. So once it's done downloading, just double click on it from here to start installing. Just follow the next till finish, and your VS Code will be completely installed. Okay, so once it's installed, you keep it aside, and then we're going to jump into our empty Notepad, and that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, I don't want this particular video to be too long now, so I'm going to stop it here. In the next video, I'm going to start writing some code. We're going to create our local root folder, and then we're going to start writing some HTML code. All right, thank you very much. See you in the next class. Bye.